Hello, so today I'm going to be analyzing a game which Morphy played. This is one of his Immortal Queen sacrifices. There's also one very instructional moment in this game. So let's analyze the game. His opponent is Louis Paulson. I don't know how to pronounce that. And Paul Morphy is playing as black. So we get e4, e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, and here we get the move knight to c3. This is transposing to the 3 knights opening, and here we get knight to f6 transferring into the 4 knights game. Bishop to b5, and now it's a Spanish all of a sudden, and here we get bishop to c5. Here, castles is played, and castles is played. If uh, if you take the knight now, and then after c takes, knight takes, then there's a fork here. I think is there. Let me double check real quick. Oh wait, no. Bishop takes f2 is the move here. Because of queen to d4, well, now there's this move knight to d3. Okay. So bishop takes f2, and then what happens is after like king to e1, queen takes. I think black is a little bit better because in terms of who has a safer king, it's going to be black because they can castle here or they can castle on the queen side. But white's king is going to stay in the center. They're going to have to do some manual castling. And we have an opposite side color bishop game. So this could be a draw if all pieces are traded here except the bishops. Instead of that, we get castles, and here we get castles. The knight takes here, basically saying that if you take, then there's going to be d4, right? And if you go bishop to d6, I'm not going to take immediately and give you an active bishop. No, I'm going to play f4. And if you go here, then now e5 comes in, and as you can see, white's just getting a massive center over here. And white is a little bit better according to the engine because they are ahead in development over here. They can develop easily, and additionally, this knight can only go to a6, which it will probably be traded off for the bishop pair here because you're gonna have double isolated a pawns. So Morphy doesn't accept the piece sacrifice, leading to the center fork trick. Instead, he goes for rook to e8. Now, rook to e8 pressures the knight here and prepares to recapture the pawn in the future. You get knight takes c6, d takes c6, bishop drops back to c4, and here we get the move b5, taking some space in the queen side. Here, the bishop drops back to e2, and here Morphy wins back the pawn. Knight takes e4 is played, and here rook takes e4 is played. We had bishop to f3 here, just attacking the rook and maybe winning the pawn over here, so that's why the rook drops back to e6. c3 is played, which is inaccurate, and now you can pause the video to think of the key move that Morphy played here. So, what does c3 do? c3 prepares to play b4 or d4, right? Supported by the c-pawn. But what c3 does is it weakens this square over here on d3. And you see this problem over here? White has a problem with developing the queen side, right? As you can see, this rook can't develop because this bishop can't develop because of this pawn. So it would have been better is d4, sacrificing a pawn. Why? Because if bishop takes, according to the engine, there's c3. And the pawn advantage isn't really felt here because it's doubled pawns. So it's more or less an equal game. Instead of that, white goes for c3, allowing for Morphy to exploit this weak d3 square and paralyze these two pawns with queen to d3. Queen to d3. And the bishop can't drop back to attack the queen because of the rook on the e file. And what this does is prevents white from developing the queen side pieces. like after b5, which is b4, which is played in the game, it is an inaccuracy because it fully kills this bishop. As you can see, it has no more space to develop because it's just staring at pawns everywhere, right? And here a4 is played. The bishop dropped back to e6, and here we had b takes a4, queen takes a4 over here, pressuring this pawn. And here Morphy actually makes a mistake and plays bishop to d7 because it allows the nice move queen goes to a6. Now what does this do? It basically offers a queen trade, right? And you can't deny this. Why? I mean, yeah, you can, but after you, like, let's say, drop back to g6, suddenly they can start pushing the pawns. D4 already, right? Limiting the bishop, and suddenly their bishop is getting in. So M- Morphy misses it. Let me just. Morphy misses this move queen to a6, but so does his opponent and plays rook a2 instead. Now the idea of rook a2 is probably thought, okay, I'm gonna triple battery over here on the a file because it's the only open a file on the board. I'm gonna play bishop to a2 and then like rook goes here. Now instead we get uh, Morphy here plays rook a e8, rook a e8. Uh, just basically saying that the E line is mine. You can't really take it, the E file. So there's nothing you can do here for the E file. Maybe there's some bishop takes, sacrifices lurking in there. And here you get queen to A6. And here you can pause the video to find the move that Morphy played. So if you guessed correctly, it is the brilliant move of queen takes f3, sacrificing the queen. Why? Because after takes, suddenly the g file is open, right? And the rook goes to g6 to check. And this is still equal. There's no win, but you have to be very sharp here. You have to find the correct moves. And here, bishop to h3 is already played. And here, there's only one move to save the game, which is queen to d3. But his opponent misses it. Queen to d3, the idea of it is ridiculous. Because after bishop takes f2, right? Sacrificing the bishop, essentially saying that if you go here, then there is a rook to e1, check, and rook goes to e1, and then goes to g2, king goes to g1, bishop takes f1, check. Yeah, and here, uh, white takes here, and then like after h takes g6 here, we have an equal game because the rook can win this pawn. This is an opposite colored bishop endgame, and there's not much winning chances here for both sides. Now the bishop is hanging, so you do have to be careful, like rook to a1, and then like bishop to d3, and this is and black is a little better here, but it's not so easy to win this. So, but instead, his opponent after bishop to h3 plays rook goes to d1, which is a blunder because now there's mate in 6. Bishop to g2, Morphy plays it. King has to go to g1, and now bishop takes f3, and now it's a discovery. The king has to go here. Morphy repeats moves, drops the bishop back here, and then and plays bishop takes f2, missing the mate. The mate here is actually the bishop going back to f3. King has to go here, and the silent move of rook goes to g2. This is just insane. Rook goes to g2. Rook, the rook is attacking the pawn here. He can't do anything. He can't do anything to protect the pawn here. Let's say you go queen to c8 trying to sacrifice a queen. No, just rook takes f2 first. King to g1, and then there's rook to g2, forcing the king to go back here. And then the rook can go here, can go anywhere, and it will be checkmate. Even rook to g1 is a checkmate because the bishop holds, and it's a double check. So, Morphy misses that. but it's fine because he's still winning in this position after bishop takes f2. Bishop takes f2, and the even though Morphy's down a queen here for just a piece, what's happening here is that the king is completely weak, and bishop to g2 is a big threat in this position. How do you stop this? Here we get queen to f1, sacrificing the queen, but here we just get bishop takes, rook takes, and after rook drops back to e2, rook goes to e2, the rook went to a1 for some reason, I don't know. And here, rook h6, rook h6 is played, d4 is played, trying to attack the rook, but here, the move in which Morphy's opponent resigned was bishop to e3. Bishop to e3 threatens a checkmate immediately, right? And if you take this piece, now there's rook takes h2, the h rook, key move here. And I forgot the name of this mating pattern, but it's very common when both of your rooks are on the 2nd or 7th rank and the king is castled on the short side. It can also be on the long side, but it's more common on short castles. And there's no clear way on how to stop this. The best move is rook to f2, but then just rook takes. And you're just down an exchange here after this move. Or even the f rook takes, yeah. King goes back, and then this is forced. This is completely winning. King to g2, and then like rook 1 h2, king to g3, and then rook takes a1, and this is just a completely winning endgame. So the most instructional moment of that game, in my opinion, was when white played c3 over here, trying to develop pieces here. So one of the questions you should ask yourself after your opponent makes a move is what is their plan over here. And Morphy asked that question to himself probably. And okay, their plan is to go d4 and to develop the bishop, and they're gonna have a nice game. But here, Morphy stops that plan first with queen to d3, paralyzing these two pawns, preventing the push, preventing the queenside pieces from developing, and went on to win the game. And also, when a piece is strong, you should really find a way to trade it off. Like queen to a6 was a better move over here. Just trading off this piece because it's preventing you from making further advancements in the position. After this, white is already better according to the engine over here, because then d4 or d3 maybe, and then the bishop can develop, and they just have a better pawn structure. So that is the brilliant Immortal Queen sacrifice of Paul Morphy here. And it's so hard to find a move like queen to d3. I mean, who would think of this queen to d3? It's just so unnatural. Why would you sack the exchange? So that is the end of the video, and bye.